Oh yay, another video about dumb. So let's go watch it, especially video games.
Recent conversation on orcs points out that characterizing a whole species in your game as ugly, warlike, and benevolent might be harmful to real-world groups regularly mischaracterized as ugly, warlike, and benevolent.
You show a brown woman. So, this is a video about trying to stop racism on about video game NPCs. Non-player characters. So, what do? You say, an orc is in the game, and, is commonly, used as a menace or a villain. So, well, guess what? Did you know? Or insert race here is also stereotype that? Jesus. Yeah, great job. Yeah. Let's continue.
It's a common trope in speculative fiction, but especially in the context of a game, painting an entire species with the same moral brush actually weakens the entire thing. This
What?
idea that a certain subgroup, like race, nationality, or sex, has inalienable traits is called biological essentialism or simply bioessentialism. And it's
Okay.
the valid way to talk about qualities like how many legs an animal has or whether it can fly. But all too often, this concept gets misused in untrue statements, like pit bulls are a violent breed, men are more logical than women, or Asians are better at math. What the actual
Well, actually, Asians on average do get better test scores and generally get better SAT scores. So, take that, racist. But I also have to remind you, he is comparing in a violent group in a video game paint to a actual humans in a real life game. Now, obviously, humans are different and races have different genetic code. We all don't look like each other. Biology. We're all Homo sapiens, or a very close variant of it, to the point where it's basically undistinguishable except for a few characteristics. But I would also like to break down his comparison. He's comparing humans or something like that, um, and and then comparing it to the real world of humans and humans. So we go from humans to orcs to humans and humans. Now, where's the fallacy? Well, orcs generally are not human. So comparing them to humans is going to be very difficult. Let's continue. Jesus.
world, bioessentialism can present problems in fiction as well, specifically a moral one. The
A moral one.
idea that a sapient species can inherently tend towards good or evil acts, or lawful
Yes, it's called fiction.
or chaotic ones, and that moral essentialism actually undercuts the greatest strength games can bring to storytelling.
It's called fiction. Plus, usually you're not taking on an entire race, or if you are, you're usually considered the bad guy. So, yeah, you're usually taking on a large group. A small group doesn't matter. Or B, you're facing off against a main villain. Usually, video games don't have you face off of an entire race. I actually can't think of one that does. Leave your answers in the entire comment. In the entire comment. Leave your answers in the comments, please.
Storytelling. The player's own power to make meaningful, interesting choices and judgments for their characters, including moral ones. So if a game's creative choices apply a moral valuation to every member of an entire species,
Again, my point, games tend to not have every single species either they tend to either have a large group or a specific main villain and their underlings. Um, well, or if you are facing off of an entire race, it's usually because you're the bad guy. I know, shock.
before the players even meet them. Well, now that's just taking that power away from the players. Yeah, not every video.
No duh. Should Call of Duty, should Call of Duty go into the diplomacy of war and negotiations and trade deals? Should they do that? Because that's what you're claiming, Games don't allow people to do this. Because if they did, the entire point of the game would be defeated. Seriously, which would you rather play? Would you rather play an action-packed game like Call of Duty, or would you rather play Negotiator 2, The Rise of Nukes? And then, find out that, there is no nuke. Well, because of MAD, mutually assured destruction. And sure, I'm not acknowledging or I'm going to acknowledge the existence of, games that actually have, well, like, hard decisions to make. I'm not denying that. But if a game is specifically designed to be a run and gunner, and if you just decide not to play the run and gunner, what's the point of the game? It's going to be extremely boring because you're not playing it as intended. And I'm also not arguing against having a morality system because that can be very interesting. Like, if I do so many things, people are going to think how people are going to think of me. Therefore, it's a balancing act, making it entertaining. See, if you don't have a balancing act and you just go, yes, so yeah, you shouldn't kill people. Now go off. You can go play the normal way. Just no killing. Remember, no killing. See, it can actually be interesting if it's not just if look, some choice is good, yes, but if you were to let literally every choice be made by the player, the story wouldn't develop. Ugh.
And in turn, if a group of orcs, for instance, doesn't even have a choice about their actions, are they actually evil? Because look, if a person.
Yes. Why? The game says so. You don't. It's not your moral imperative to decide whether or not the villain of the game is actually the villain. If you want to enjoy the game, I mean, sure, you could consider the moral issues with massacring people or orcs or whatever, but what's the fun in that?
Person, say, destroys a house. We call that evil because they chose to do so. But if a tornado destroys a house, well, I mean, is wind evil? No. This might be the.
Why? You might ask why? Because wind, get this, wind is not alive. Did you know that? Wow. And, well, now after, these amazing comparisons, because, wind and, humans who, have the ability to communicate and, have the, have the moral incentive to do the correct thing in their opinion, biologically written into them, are the exact same thing. Also, it's entirely fine to think that video games, should be entirely story ridden. I disagree. I like playing my running gunners or my button mashers, but sure, I can appreciate a good game that has lore dumps everywhere. Anyways, let's continue.
Of course, Games Workshop made that choice to facilitate a war game where lethal violence is the only option. But then folks also saw that in the 40k novels and RPGs, which required more interesting narrative complexities, Imperial heroes have to grapple with and recognize the illogic of that creed based on their own experience.
Yeah. So what? Again, should Call of Duty have, a diplomacy section where you sit down as an ambassador, and if you screw it up, you would have to go into war and you could get fired. Should that what should is that what Call of Duty should be like? Should Madden, have the social and political economic effects of drafting someone? Because it kind of seems like you're saying that is yeah, yes, more of that. Again, look at the look at the last most popular games of last year. Two of them, maybe, depending on how broad your definition is, were deep and full of storylines. So, another thing, novels and video games have different engagement. See, novels, you don't control anything. You see, video games, you semi control things. So you understand now that, guess what? They're different. Also, a good author can frame a character as evil with no reasons at all that are delivered in the book or before the book or the so what yes, well, a book doesn't say whether or not something is evil, therefore, video games must follow the same thing. Jesus. You're comparing hot dogs to hamburgers. Sure, they're both food, but they serve different purposes. Yeah, you cannot compare books to video games. Books, you add nuance. Video games, pew pew pew, gun go pew pew pew. Let's continue.
Answer becomes less easy. And if the goal of your game is to stop players from engaging in moral debates and just fight some bad guys, you kinda gotta say something more reliable than, oh, it's fine, they were all born this way.
No, that's not their argument. Their argument is, so what? It's our game. Fuck off. Also, again, you're usually not fighting entire races. Or if you are, you're usually in a war. If it's like a big bad shooty game, or or you've seen them do evil acts, or the only time I usually you're the bad guy when you just unprovokingly attack them. And usually the point of these games is, okay, you're the bad guy. You don't have to follow morals anymore. Do whatever you want. Which is fun. Why? I don't know why, but it's fun. I mean, would you rather, would you rather as the villain of the game, the protagonist villain, you know, have to, morally debate whether or not, um, the loss of life is worth it, or would you like to economically debate, the effectiveness of this invasion and the possible benefits and negatives of it? Again, is this what you want? Also, did you know video games are also a very common method to escape having to think about, moral issues, politics, that bad driver you saw on the highway? Let's continue.
Evil, not because of where I was born, but because of the choices I've made, such as Nazi uniforms
I agree with you.
and clan hoods. Then in fiction, we have things like the Hydra logo, a clear visual signifier, but one that denotes choice, not birth. I think the weirdest.
Yeah. Hey, did you also know most villain organizations have a symbol or are affiliated with the main villain? Did you know that? Wow. That's interesting. Plus, you're arguing that the Nazis are somehow comparable to a fictional video game. Compare Nazis to Nazis and oranges to oranges, not Nazis to fictional video game characters. I mean, sure, you can say, oh, they're like the Nazis because of their actions. You cannot say they are morally equivalent. See, that's the thing. Video games don't claim to be the absolute moral pinnacle. They just claim to try to entertain you, which is perfectly fine. Let's continue.
And a good example of a series getting better and better at this over time is Mass Effect. Because in the first game, Commander
Yeah, ratings might disagree.
Shepard never meets a nice Batarian or a fun Geth. But then, spoiler alert, most of these evil species turn out to be as complex and interesting as the human ones as the trilogy progresses. Yeah, because the last.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm sure. The fans absolutely loved, the nuance. I'm sure it got great ratings. Anyways,
We can solve that problem by following our best creative instincts to diversify.
like, getting rid of nuance so the player doesn't become confused on what they're supposed to do.
Deepen and complicate the worlds we create and its denizens. This way, players won't be incentivized to make snap judgments about our game's org.
Okay. Then what? What are you supposed to do? Okay, let's be friends. No? You sure? Okay. Yeah. How interesting. Mass Effect Andromeda. Really great game, guys. Yeah, but yeah. What happens when you succeed at your goal of becoming friends? This game's really boring. I think I might just start a couple wars. Oh no, I'm supposed to feel bad because, you know, I'm sorry. Shut up. First of all, why should you be forced to diversify your game and, content? Yes. I just want to make a fun game that's entertaining and that's not really thought provoking, more just, hey, see him? Yeah, I'm gonna shoot him. Why? I'm the bad guy. Who the hell cares? I can shoot whoever I want. Plus, this is just the video games cause violence. If your kid sees someone get shot in a video game, Jesus Christ, if your kid sees someone get shot in a video game, they'll shoot someone in real life. So guys, do you hear that? Do you hear that? Oh no, there's one. Oh no, one person just died. Oh no, two people just died. Oh no. Oh no. I'm responsible for that because I played a gunshot sound. Therefore, guess what? Some person just killed someone. Now, Asian American hate. I don't want to talk about it, but it's happening. I'm not going to explain why or my opinions on it, but it's happening. So your explanation to why it's happening is because evil racists saw it. Oh no. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Orcs are portrayed as ugly. Therefore, it translates to real life. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm sick. I am. No. Stop. Just stop. stop. No more. I do not want to see another video games cause something else. Now, I'm sorry for the people who just got shot, because, video games cause everything, but end of video, bye.